Hi guys. So I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about one of the toughest questions that I've ever faced in my life, that I thought I would kind of share, just the perspective, I guess, that I've gained over the course of the last few years. And that question is, why does God let bad things happen? So, in light of the recent crazy things that have been going on in this world and in the United States, just all the death and all the crazy hate, all the hard stuff, right? It's like we look at the news and it's like, how do people believe in a loving God when all this bad crap is happening around us? When there's children that are suffering, when there's people that are starving, when people are being murdered for no reason at all, how can God continue to let this go on? Like, why would he create us in the first place, right? I'm honestly kind of writing a book on this subject. It's more a memoir about my life and the past 5 years that I've gone through. My late husband was diagnosed, I guess it was almost, 6 years ago now, that he was first diagnosed with cancer, and just the up and downs from that. And then I ended up losing him to cancer when our daughter was 9 months old. So that whole story. But anyway, there's been a lot of good and a lot of bad in my life in the last 6 years. I've kind of been on completely opposite ends of the scale as far as that's gone. And at first, when I lost Nick, I wasn't sure that I could believe in God anymore, and a God that would let my best friend die. And recently, I've come to this kind of crazy realization. When it gets this bad, like, why doesn't God just put an end to it now? Like, why doesn't he just shut this whole thing down? For me, it all comes back, and a lot of it has come or a lot of my realizations have come from being a parent. So if you're not a parent, I apologize if this doesn't make sense, but it's still like, try and think of like a niece or a nephew, or if there's some kind of kid in your life, or think back to when there was a kid in your life. Children bring such joy. They're so innocent. They do things that are wrong all the time, but we know more than they do, and they still, in the end, it's like we love them. Our own children especially, it's like they could do anything and we would still absolutely love them and want what's best for them. So as far as God goes, his love for us, like, he's created us, we're his children, he loves us so very much. So he created us to be his children, to be his friend, to be his companion, to live life with, right? So that he could have family, just like we desire family. He desired family, so he created us. And then it's like, well, why did he create evil? Well, in order to love somebody, there has to be a choice. If I'm forced to love you, then I don't really love you. That's not real love. That's just, I'm a slave, and that's not nice. So God didn't want to create a bunch of puppets that had to love him, that were created only to love him, and they had no choice in it. He wanted to create us, and he needed us to truly love him. He needed us to have a relationship. And in order for us to have a relationship with him, we have to choose a relationship. So there had to be a choice between him and between something else. That's where evil came into play. Now, things have gotten kind of crazy out of control. It's been thousands of years since humans have roamed this earth, and there's a lot of us that have lived here and passed here, and it's like all these generations keep going by, and it's like, God, why don't you just put an end to this? And for us Christians who believe that Jesus is coming back, it's like, why doesn't Jesus come back now? And Jay and I were talking about this the other night. Like, we love Austin so much. We are so proud and happy to be her parents, and she's 3 years old, but we're talking a little bit about possibly having another child. And even though, like, Austin, she's gotten hurt a lot, even in the 3 years that she's been here. Like, she lost her biological father when she was a baby. She has gone through, all kinds of aches and pains and trips. She falls and scrapes her knees. She actually killed her front tooth falling on her face. Poor baby. Like, there's been all these things that have been really hard for her, and she's had to learn a lot of really hard lessons, and she's going to go through a lot of more hard stuff in her life. But does that make me not want to create another one? No. Like, I still, even though it's been hard, and it's hard to watch her go through these things, and even though it's hard for me personally to watch her to go through these things, and I know it's hard for her, like, I wouldn't trade the time that we've had already for the world. I wouldn't trade that for anything. And I know it'll be the same for our next child. Like, there's no way I would trade anything to anything for that relationship with my next hopeful child, right? So I just think that it's something to consider when people wonder, like, why does God let this keep going? Why doesn't he end it? It's like, we don't know where the end is. I believe at some point, I know from the Bible that this will end and there will be a next phase. But in the meantime, how can we blame God for wanting to be in relationship with more of us, even though we have to go through this horrendous stuff and we have to learn about this stuff in the news or actually live out the news in our daily lives? How can we say that our relationship with him isn't worth it? We can't, and we're not God, and we can't say, God, this isn't worth it, because we don't see the big picture. He knows the whole thing, and he knows that in eternity we get to spend forever with him, and we get to have so much fun, and our lives will be so good that it'll be worth all of this, that all of this crap won't even matter. The destruction, everything will be built again. And that's the part that I think, like, he is just so excited to know that that's coming. And it's even the same for me with Austin. Like, I know we're hurting now sometimes and things are hard right now sometimes, but I have hope for a brighter future, and I have hope for my children and everyone on this planet. Like, if there's one thing you have hope for, it's hope for your kids, and that's what God has for us. He has hope for us. He hasn't given up on us, and that's why we're still rocking it down here. So I just feel like sometimes it can get so discouraging, and it's so easy to say, like, God, just end it. But you know what? I'm choosing to trust him. I'm choosing to trust his timing, and that he knows, like, how many more generations he needs. Not that he needs any of us, you know what I mean? But how many more generations he wants, and who, you never know. Like, you never know the people that are going to be created still, and just the crazy awesome things that even people that are here right now will do. So I know there's bad crap going on. Hold on. Don't give up. God hasn't given up yet. That means we don't need to give up yet. He's way better than we are. He's got more smarts. He knows what's going on. Let's trust him. Those are just my random thoughts. I hope the birds weren't too loud. Anyway, so yeah, I hope that helped. Let me know if it did. My blog is faithoverfear.co. My name's Elisa Magnotti, soon to be Gallios. And I hope you guys have a blessed night. We'll talk soon. Bye.